Good evening. This is Mrs. Klett, and this is your review video for NEFE Book 1. One of the things that you need to know, the differences between needs and wants. So like if I gave you a new car, a clothes dryer, a place to sleep, or lunch at a local restaurant, which would be considered the need? Okay? Which one's the need? What factors influence your decisions? Okay, that's in NEFE Book 1, so go over those factors like values, family, peers, your age, all those things, and they change over time, so you have to reevaluate once in a while. What would you describe a value as? Look up in your NEFE book and see what the definition of a value is. Just make sure that you know how to divide out monthly payments. Say if you had so much money down for a car, you would subtract that from the cost of the car, and then what's left over you'd have to divide into monthly payments. Say you had 36 months, so whatever the figure was that you had left over, you divide by 36. So know your math, know what you're doing, pay attention to what they state as the costs, and which is added and which is subtracted. You need to know the difference between short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. Short-term is up to 3 months. Medium term, 3 months to a year. Long term, anything over a year. So short term, medium term, long term goals. There's a lot of these questions about figuring and divided by months, and so make sure you've got your math head on straight tomorrow. Let's see. You have to fill out a weekly spending log. So remember how you did that. You got to add up your income, and then you have to subtract your expenses and see how that all comes out. And some of these are just thinking questions, but you need to know what you studied to be able to give the correct answers. If somebody wants to change your spending or income so that you're not spending more than you're receiving, we had a bunch of arrows on that one, remember? But one was to up your income source, one was to reduce your amount spent, or another one was to set aside money each week to pay for big ticket items. So to up your income source, what would you do? Get another job maybe? Yeah? Okay. To create once you create a spending plan, how do you stick to it? Look up some strategies to help you stick to your spending plan, and that's all in Book 1. Remember I told you about sticking a note under the table, but that's not what was in the NEFE book. So look up in NEFE. You can tell other people about your goals so that you're accountable to them. You can write out your goals and post it in a visible place, stick it on the fridge. There are lots of different ways you can do that, so look it up and see what appeals to you. Absolutely, you have to know how to write a SMART goal. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. And you have to be able to go through the ones that you see, and there are some in the book that you can go back over to see what's missing from them. So make sure that you know what each of those terms mean. We went over those just Tuesday. Okay. You also need to know your decision-making step. Remember the D-E-C-I-D-E, decide. D is define your goal. E is establish your criteria. C is choose 2 or 3 good options. I is identify the pros and cons. D, finally just decide what's best. So the fifth one, the D, decide, the last D is the same as the word decide. And then E is to evaluate the results. They suggest waiting a month and see how that works out. You need to know some definitions. You need to know what cash flow is, what emergency fund is, what fixed expense is, what income is. Now they put in here PYF, so go ahead and know what PYF stands for. We know it's pay yourself first, whereas we say pay God first, so it's PGF. But anyway, it all amounts to saving money. Know what opportunity cost is. Spending and saving plan, what would that be? A spending log. And variable expenses. Know the definitions of all those terms. Income is any money that you receive in. Allowance, gift cards, all that kind of stuff. Fixed expense is an expense that's the same each and every month, never changes. Pay yourself first. PYF comes right off the top of your paycheck. 10% of your gross income, that's before taxes, goes into to pay God first, actually, and then 10% to pay yourself. Okay? And opportunity cost, a cost for an opportunity. What does it cost? Well, sometimes you have to give up the next best choice when you make a decision. Got to make choices. And an emergency fund, well, that would be money on hand for emergency, so you have to save to be able to do that. Then they will give you a scenario. They will give you money, the amount that this kid has for a trip, and you're going to have to be able to figure out his total income, his total expense. They're going to give you all the information that you need for that. But you have to be able to do the math on it. And then tell me, do you think it's an attainable savings goal and why? So you're going to have to do some thinking and just make sure that you know the SMART goals, that you know the decide and what that all stands for, and be able to do your math, and you'll do fine. God bless you. Bye-bye.